Hey, y'all, Mr. JK here, live from, well, what we, from a different spot besides what you um, are used to seeing me at. I'm actually doing a one of the rare visits to that I do to my parents' house at this time. All right, so the segment is basically live from my parents' house. Um, Back right behind me, you'll see a picture of my grandparents on my dad's side. Um, the the that would be the picture of the grandmother that I didn't get a chance to meet because she died before I was born. Um, anyways, um, I just thought not really much of you watching at this time. Um, but basically, it's been this Jordan Love has been a certain quarterback coming out of college, going into NFL, not even drafted yet, has been putting up good numbers to basically maybe put a question mark on rather. I got three dogs to watch, including my own right now. You know, I gotta make sure that no injury happens. All right, everything's fine. All right. So, anyways, it was on, and it's still projected that Joe Burrow is going to go number one overall, and um, Tua is going to be the next quarterback that falls into place. Um, Now they're pretty much indicating that the Redskins should select Tua, even though they have Dwayne Haskins. Uh, so instead of selecting Chase Young with their number two pick. Well, my thing is if you're sure you already have your quarterback with Dwayne Haskins, don't even worry about uh, what Mel Kiper Jr. says about whether or not you who you have to uh, pick. Just go ahead and pick Chase Young if you're going to go ahead and pick Chase Young for bettering your defense. I mean, the Niners focus more on their defense with their top picks over their offense, and look where they got them. In uh, they ended up going to a Super Bowl. Now, providing they didn't end up winning this time, and you already saw the aftermath of what happened and all that stuff. So I'm not going to go into that, but uh, yeah, that's basically um, here or there type of deal. And I have a feeling that the Niners are going to be back full fledged, and there's not going to be any chance of anybody standing in the way of them getting to their next championship. All right. I just have a feeling this is going next 2020, 2021 is going to be their year, wherever the Super Bowl is going to be at. Now, side note, NCAA March Madness is going to be coming up this next month, which means the selection show is going to be coming up. I did see in recent top AP polls that the Duke is um, falling out of the top 10, which means they're not going to get uh, a top seed in the NCAA tournament. They're still going to be in the tournament for sure, but they're not going to get a top seed in the tournament. And just in case you guys don't know about how the tournament works, it's the top four. It's every four seeds it changes. So the top four, 1 through 4, is the number one seeds. Um, then you got 5 through 8, that's ranked nationally, is the number two seeds. Then you got 9 through 12 ranked nationally is number 3. You got then um, 13 through 16 is number 4. Number 5 is then obviously 17 through 20. Number 6 is um, 21 through 24. And so by the time you reach number 7, you're already falling out of the top 25. There's only one number, the seeded number to everything. The seeds going through like maybe 11 are still somewhat big schools coming in there. And then you start getting below C11, which is 12 through 16, and you got all these smaller schools which have to win their tournament in order to get in. So all these teams that are in the NCAA tournament, it's not like they're not very good, even the very, very low teams, which is why a couple years back in first time history, there was a number 16 seed that actually got on to the second round uh, for the first time, beating a number one seed. Now, last year, that same number one seed, they ended up getting beat out, as in like the very first number one seed to go down in NCAA tournament history ever. That same team came back last year and ended up being the national champions. Obviously, they had some unfinished business. They wanted they wanted to show everybody that they were not like just a one hit wonder type of deal. Now, when they went down, they were the number one seed, the uh, team to beat, according to the experts in the selection committees. Um, Last year, they were a number one seed again, but not necessarily the team to beat. So not everybody expected them to go the distance, but they're hungry, which brings me around to Lexi, which brings me around to the point of the Niners situation where we're going to be hungry, man. We're going to want it so badly that nothing is going to stand in the way. Sure, there might be 1 or 2 losses along the way. We lost 3 times last year on the way to the Super Bowl, but uh, rest assured, I can safely say that the Niners are going to be hungry enough to get that Super Bowl win. Nothing is going to stand in the way of that. All right. I'm not gonna necessarily pick who should go where and, and type of thing. Of course, I'm all for Tua going to, like, let's say Miami or whatever he's going to be going to, But I'm not really gonna say too much about who should go where or whatever. Um, each team knows their needs, and each coach and GM are gonna pick whatever players they think is gonna end up going to better their particular team. Each one is gonna end up um, having like a time where it's this particular situation or nothing. So it's definitely not gonna end up um, affecting. Listen, my opinion on who should go where and all that stuff, especially since I don't really know uh, too much about the draft class right now, besides the fact that Joe Burrow, the one that's projected to go number one overall, is the national championship champion and the Heisman Trophy winner of um, this particular year from college, coming out of college. Um, and by the way, he is a native to Ohio. That is a fact there. Even though he was on the, even though he was the quarterback for LSU, he was actually from originally from Ohio, and he originally did go to Ohio State. It's just he ended up going to LSU because they weren't using him at Ohio State, which raises a point where if there's potential in a certain particular player, whether it be a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, defensive end, a cornerback, um, right tackle, left tackle, not being used to his full potential by a certain team, then they're going to end up using what's called the transfer portal, especially when certain other coach is kind of promising certain things to transfer from where they originally went to, even though they wanted to be there in the first place, over to here. And now what happened was Joe Burrow ended up being the golden boy over in LSU. And now it's projected that Joe Burrow is going to go number one overall instead of Tua, because Tua ended up getting injured and not being able to finish a whole season ever. As a matter of fact, I was watching ESPN today and ended up being able to catch that he didn't even play a whole season in high school. He started getting injured in high school. Then he was injured in college. Now he's going in the NFL. Uh, Never ever ever having to play a whole season, which is the reason why he is not projected to go as high as Burrow is. But um, all the experts, Kuiper Jr. and Todd McShay, or whoever his name is, are projecting that if Tua was healthy, he would be going number one overall instead of Joe Burrow. But since Tua is not healthy and there's health concerns there, Tua will be going like not necessarily second overall, but he's going to be the second quarterback to come off the board out of the quarterbacks that are out there. Then they're both projecting that I believe his name is Justin Hubert from Oregon. They're projecting he's going to go next, and then Jordan Love. And as I said earlier in this statement, um, it is kind of questionable with the Jordan Love and Justin Hubert thing where Jordan Love could be coming off the board first before Justin Hubert does. But um, on one hand, they're both saying that Justin Hubert would be the one that be selected in Miami if Tua is off the board by then, because Tua might end up going to, let's say, Detroit instead of, and that's number 3, 2 picks before Miami has a pick. Um, and then I have no idea who the Niners are going to pick. I'm going to have to go through and see who might end up being left at pick number 31. But um, it's not going to be one of the ones that's projected, one of the candidates that's going to end up projected to go really high. But I do hope that the Niners end up getting something that they can add on to their already elite team as soon as they're able to get back together. I'm sure that they're able to get everybody back together, even though it's projected that certain people are going to be free agents. But if I remember correctly, most of those projections are free agents after the 2020-21 season is done. Is that's projected to go there. Another interesting fact I saw was the Greek freak Giannis. There's people that are saying that he might be going to the Warriors instead of staying in Milwaukee. Now, as much respect as I have for the Warriors, and no, I'm not a big time Warriors fan. I am a Chicago Bulls fan all the way since the days of Michael Jordan, even though the Bulls are out of the playoffs and they will be out of the playoffs for a long, long time. I'm still going to indicate that I am a Bulls fan right now. But I do have a lot of respect for the Warriors because of how humble they've been, and um, and I would even go to say that they wouldn't be able to hold up against the Chicago Bulls of the '90s at all. Uh-uh. The super teams of these days, no. Um, anyways, even though I got a lot of respect for them, and it would be kind of cool to see that experiment work with uh, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green to see if that might end up working with those three, like being partnered up with those players instead of playing up against those players. And all that stuff. I think it's better for him to stay where he's at in Milwaukee. And there's a few reasons why. The main reason is because he is the man on the team that they're trying to build around. That is the main reason. Um, so basically, he can pretty much do for the Bucks what Jordan did for keep the East alive instead of going over to the West. Why go over to a stacked West that has all these teams that are battling it out? Right now, there's all these teams battling it out for the 8th seed, right? Which means seeds 1 through 7 in the West are already projected to be filled up already. The one spot that's open in the playoffs over there is the 8th seed, right? Why go over there when you got to battle it out just to be the 8th seed when you are in a prime conference to be able to be an elite team over there and make it into a higher position almost no problem. All right. Now, I'm not saying the East is weaker than the West. I'm just saying, but I am indicating that for some odd reason, there are players such as Kawhi Leonard, the reigning NBA Finals MVP, going from an East Coast team after he was able to get his team that he was playing on last year, the Raptors, to and winning a championship, the very first championship that the Raptors had in franchise history. All right, you look back at the Raptors franchise history, which begins somewhere in the 90s. I believe it's I'm gonna have to look up the exact year, but I believe it's somewhere in the mid 90s when they ended up being the new expansion team. It was pretty much the same year that Vince Carter came into the league. That was the year that they were a new team, and now they actually have a championship on the books, and that's a fact. Um, Now, um, it would be kind of interesting to see. Like I said, it would be kind of interesting to see the Giannis to team up with everyone that's on the Warriors right now. But right now, I'd say stay with the Bucks as much as you can. Take in that money with the Bucks. Take them up to that next level, and don't ever go anywhere else. Don't pull a LeBron James and go away from the team that ended up drafting you just to get your first championship. Come back, only get one championship for the team that drafted you, and then about a year later, you end up losing and going to another team that already has a lot of championships. And by the way, here's a fact for you. LeBron James didn't even make the playoffs last year with the team he had. All right. They had to trade away all the pieces that they had for Anthony Davis. All right. So they added in Anthony Davis, and then they only ended up keeping one piece out of everyone that they had first or second year with that LeBron James ended up being teaming up with last year. And then they brought in one or two former Warriors, and then they ended up bringing in a former teammate of Kawhi Leonard's that was Kawhi Leonard's teammate since they were teaming up with the Spurs, since they've been teammates on the Spurs, right? Right. So they end up bringing in all those pieces, and now they're talking about after LeBron James has had 1 year where he didn't make the playoffs by himself. They're talking about how he's like they're basically talking about how he's great again. All right. He's not even the reason why the Lakers are winning right now. All right. He is Rondo and Kuzma and some other players are the ones that are making most of the big plays. All right. As Scottie Pippen indicated, he does not have the clutch gene. All right. And the Clippers are already showing that they're basically the better team over the Lakers right now for LA. Uh, when they're fully healthy because they played each other twice. Who won those 2 times this year? Who did it? They won them twice. The Clippers. All right. So so when it comes down to everything, the Clippers are going to end up being the better team over the other in LA. And if it wasn't so much hype behind LeBron and all that stuff, saying that he was better than Michael Jordan, I probably would have a little bit more respect for him. All right, because he is a good player. He's great. All right, but you can't say that he's better than Michael Jordan. All right, there's no way that you can say that he's better. All right, if Michael Jordan were to come out right now and play him, all right, there's no way that he would be uh, ignorant enough to just go out and play him without preparing. And Michael Jordan did everything he did that he could have done to win those championships. And if he was playing in today's game, he would have the same um, the same old concept that he had to, but you'd be getting called fouled for all that. But he'd still have the same competitiveness, and LeBron James would not be King James anymore. As a matter of fact, there wouldn't be a King James in the association. It would be a his airness in the association. All right. So right now, that is kind of a sore spot right there for me. Basically, anyone that says that LeBron James is a better player over Michael Jordan, no. All right. Now, this Kobe Bryant thing, I wouldn't say Kobe Bryant is a better player than Michael Jordan either. I'd say that Kobe Bryant was a better player than LeBron James, though. Um, and I would um, pretty much add on that he would have been a respectable enough player to be able to be competitive against MJ. But overall, MJ would be the one that would end up beating Kobe in a rematch. So nothing against the way his competitiveness was or whatever else. He had that competitiveness, and he had that edge where he had that clutch gene and all that stuff. It's just Michael Jordan would still beat him out. But it is still tragic for the loss um, and all that stuff. But um, overall, I would say that if you were to change the Jerry West logo that we know now in the NBA, it should go to the Michael Jordan logo, not the Kobe Bryant logo. Now, on the other hand, yes, go ahead and retire both the numbers of Kobe Bryant. And if you want to, go ahead and retire his daughter's jersey number. Go. Don't be putting his logo on the NBA like you're petitioning to do. I would start a petition myself to do Michael Jordan. All right, and I'm looking at the timer and all that stuff. I've been talking for a long time. Uh, I'm I'm sorry I took up too much time here. So this live cast from uh, my parents' house in Judah is going to be coming to an end here. Um, so basically, I will end up trying to get some more facts and all that stuff for you guys. By the way, the Mandalorian series on Disney Plus, it is actually worth the watch, and so is the Star Wars Resistance right now. It actually kind of um, is. It doesn't like go um, in between anything. It actually kind of goes like transitions nicely with the most recent movies that's out there, type of deal. You actually get to see like the aftermath of the battle from um, the Last Jedi and um, uh, actually was yeah of the Last Jedi. All right, and then you actually get to see the like when they're shooting at all those that big weapon where they're shooting at all those planets and uh, the Force Awakens and all those planets explode. You actually get to see that via uh, news screen and all that stuff. So it's actually playing out through the events of all the new movies that just came out for Star Wars. So if you like those uh, the newer uh, trilogy that just came out, go ahead and pop on Star Wars Resistance. All right, I will end up uh, signing off right here. So peace.